Hello, Ben.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine.
Good. What are we here
How are
to?
you?
What are we talking about today? I'm good. What are we talking about?
We're talking about your first of three movies, a little thing called Galaxy Quest.
Yes. Do you remember what year it came out?
1990 something.
99.
Four?
Apparently.
99.
No, not 94. Jesus.
I don't fucking know.
Well. Uh. So yeah, we did this last week with Van Helsing from 2004. We're doing it
Yeah,
this week with Galaxy Quest from 1999.
yeah.
How would you like to start, Ben? Do you have any opening
Well,
comments?
yes, usually we do our opening statements. I I like this film. I think it's very good, and yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I like it. It's a good um, film about sort of fan culture and the relationship between creatives, or specifically actors and fans. The cast is great. I like it. I like it. It's fun. I like it.
Cool. My opening comment is in fact a quote from someone
All right.
else.
Okay.
My son watched this with me,
Oh,
and therefore I have a quote from him.
what did he say?
It was great.
There we go.
That's it. My exact line. The thing I wrote down is Henry thought it was great. So that's
Glowing praise indeed.
from a 10-year-old. This is a boy who wasn't born until 16 years after this film was released, and he thinks it was great.
Jesus
So what does that tell you
Christ.
about how old we are, and and life?
Uh,
Yeah.
fucking relentless, man.
It is. So anyway,
But
let's get
yeah,
going.
yes.
How does this film start, Ben? I'll let you start us off.
Well, it opens with a clip from the last episode of the TV show Galaxy Quest
Mm.
before it was cancelled, I
Yep.
guess, where they've escaped the crew of the what's the name of the ship? I can't remember.
The
The Not
the
Enterprise,
Protector, isn't it?
the Protector. Yeah,
The
they escape.
NSEA Protector.
Yes, they escape a threat, or feel that, or think they've escaped a threat. But the captain, played by Tim Allen, notes that it seemed too good to be true, too easy
Sorry,
by far.
I gotta stop you
What?
there. It is for Captain, played by Jason Nesmith, played by Tim Allen.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Yes. Yes. I, I'm I'm bad at names. So this is going to be a disaster for
I
me
don't
because I
know
can't
many of
remember
the
what
other. I can't
any of
remember
the
most.
characters are called.
It's fine.
Um,
You're good.
yes, he notes that it was too easy, and sirens start blaring and shit goes down, and he gives the order to activate Omega 13,
Yep.
the Omega 13,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
and then it does the whole to be continued.
I bet it never was.
No, and the camera pans back, and we're at a convention, a sci-fi convention specifically for Galaxy Quest.
Yeah. Which is
Um,
it. At this point, it's worth mentioning. It's very Star Trek.
yeah, I have a vague feeling I read somewhere or heard somewhere that the original plan was for this to feature the original series Star Trek actors, and I don't know if that's true or whether that's just something I made up.
Okay.
But there are a lot of parallels. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
this is clearly based on those actors,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
I
that
mean,
sort of
even
whole
visually, a lot of it is very similar to Star Trek in terms of like
yes,
the bridge, the
yes,
bridge design is a Star Trek, and
yeah,
you know,
yes, it's clearly playing on the whole because there weren't. I don't really know if prior to Star Trek there were any actors who found themselves in a position like that, where they were that famous for one role in a TV show that wasn't running anymore and an entire sort of culture built around it in the
hmm,
same way.
I wouldn't know.
Yes, we're at a convention, and the presenter, who is called Guy, played by
Sam
somebody I
Rockwell.
recognise.
It's Sam
Yes,
Rockwell. So
yes. Who we later find out was in one episode. Well,
yes,
half an episode, half an
a
episode
quarter of
of
an
Galaxy
episode.
Quest. Yes, and he was killed before the first outbreak. He was a red shirt
Yes.
character. He's stalling for time because the captain um, actor um, played what's his name? Jason Bateman. What's his name?
Jason
I'm going to get
Nesmith.
the whip. Yes, he hasn't shown up,
Yes.
So the other cast are just sort of hanging about and waiting, and it's really well played because you get the impression this is basically how every one of these goes.
Yeah. Yeah. He's late again, sort of vibe.
Yes. So Jason is late, and we've also got the other cast. Do you want to go through them, or should I?
Well, we got Sigourney Weaver,
Yes.
whose name I can't remember. Gwen DeMarco,
Uh,
is it?
yes, he
Yeah.
played Lieutenant Tawny Madison. He's kind of the Allura uh,
Yep. You got
type character.
Alan Rickman as Alexander Dane,
Yes,
who I can't remember what his character's name is. But
played Doctor Lazarus.
Dr.
Who's
Lazarus. He's the Spock,
basically
isn't he?
Leonard Nimoy and Spock. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that sort of setup.
You got Tony Shalhoub playing Fred Kwan, who is
Yes.
technician Chen or Chell, or
Yes,
something like that. Chen
he's-
is Chen.
It's the time-honored tradition of getting a non-Asian actor to play an Asian character in this Galaxy Quest TV show. I don't know whether you noticed his eyes. He's kind of in yellow face.
I know, you see, because I'm very much of the opinion he's actually just stoned.
Well, he is for the bulk of it.
Yes, I've had.
But when he's
I
on-
don't necessarily think that it's a
When he's on the actual TV show,
Hmm.
he's playing an Asian character.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But yeah.
Who else is there? You've got
Well, there's one more. It's Daryl Mitchell as Tommy Weber.
yes, he's
Who,
probably the least famous of all the people that are the main cast. I would
Yeah.
say.
Yes, he played Lieutenant Laredo.
Yes.
Who
Was a child.
Yes, he was originally a child. He's the Wesley Crusher type character. He was the kid, presumably the kid genius on the bridge.
But yeah, so you've got Alan Rickman's character having a meltdown, basically.
Yes,
Which is
because
we find out is a thing he does basically every time.
yes, he looks in the mirror and starts having a sort of crisis. It's like, how the hell did I get here? I was
did
a Shakespearean actor. I played Richard III. How many curtain calls did he get?
I don't know, like 7.
5 curtain calls.
You know.
Richard III, and he decides he's going to leave. For some reason, he's in costume. He's got his head gear on.
Yes, but he has a lot of the time. We see him at home later, and he's still got it on.
Yeah, but it's like Michael Dorn, who plays Worf, doesn't show up with full like Worf makeup. But I guess I don't know. Maybe it's because the TV show Galaxy Quest was really cheap, and it's easy for him to apply that.
Maybe.
And it's like stipulated, wear that to all these conventions and stuff. But yes.
Yes. Anyway, he has this breakdown basically every time, and it's an understandable breakdown. He's effectively, like you say, he's in terms of the actual actors themselves. He's in terms of Star Trek, he's the Leonard Nimoy Spock character. But there is a touch of Patrick Stewart in there.
There is, yeah.
Because I doubt Leonard Nimoy ever said, "What am I doing here? I did the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins."
Yes. Yeah. He's an actor who's done a lot of theatre work and is resentful that his legacy is basically this crummy science fiction show that he has no respect for.
Yeah.
And the other actors are trying to calm him down, and then Jason showed up like an hour and a half late.
Mm-hmm. So they get called on.
Yes. And Jason manages to persuade Alexander to go on. Alexander says, "Nothing you can say will make me go on there and say that line again." And Jason replies, "The show must go on." And being a proper theatrical lover of the theatre,
It does
Alexander,
duly convince him. Yeah.
he's like, "God damn you, yes, all right."
So yeah, so go on.
One of the things this film does really well, I mean, the main theme of this film is the relationship between actors and fans, specifically when it comes to science fiction. Because basically, I mean, Alexander has nothing but contempt for it.
Yeah.
But does it basically because it's a job, which is sort of like what the rest of them do as well.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Sam Rockwell's character who was in, like, as you say, a quarter of an episode. He's still trying to milk it.
Yeah.
And then you got Tim Allen, who's the big star of it. And it's sort of like an ego trip for him.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
This is his
really,
big thing.
Yes, he doesn't really he doesn't really care about the show or the fans. He just likes the attention and the adoration.
And there is a lot of it.
Like, yeah, none of them really respect or not too much respect the fans and the diehard fans, the weirdos and stuff.
Hmm.
So yeah, they go on stage, and of course Jason gets the big round of applause, and then they're signing autographs, and Alexander is approached by a couple of fans who try and make him do his catchphrase. He point blank refuses.
Yep.
Clearly not having a good time. Um,
I just want to say Alan Rickman is wonderful in this film.
he is wonderful.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen him in anything that I didn't enjoy seeing him in. I think this is one of those films where he really he gets to have fun with it whilst looking like
Yes.
he's not having any fucking fun at all.
He
is
plays
brilliant.
it perfectly. He plays
It's-
it perfectly, God love him.
Yeah. Yes. So there's a bit of a moment where we briefly meet some people who look a bit weird,
Yeah.
taking it all very seriously, but they get blown off. One of them, Rainn
Yeah.
Wilson.
Yeah, Dwight off of The Office, and another one is Missy Pyle.
Yes, I'd completely forgotten. I hadn't known that he was in it. I'd recognised her loads, but
Yeah.
I didn't know he was in
Yeah.
it because I'd never seen The Office
Yeah.
until recently.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was nice. But yeah, it's implied that there's a bit of a or there maybe a failed romance between the Sigourney Weaver, Tim Allen characters. He goes off for a piss, and
Yes.
there's this wonderful scene which apparently happened to William Shatner. Apparently,
Oh,
it happened to him in
yeah.
'86.
Oh God.
Basically, he's in the bathroom, Tim Allen's character, and he overhears people talking shit about him and the fans and all that kind of stuff for taking it as seriously as it seems they are taking it. And
Yeah.
it's not a nice thing to hear.
No.
Especially not a nice thing to overhear. With previous people thinking that he's not about or whatever, and there's
Yeah.
a few slurs thrown as well.
He's a washed-up has-been, and
This is all he
Yeah.
has, basically.
yes,
is their analysis.
which is true.
Yeah, no, they're not wrong, and that's why he's very visually takes a slump after that, doesn't he?
Yes.
His whole attitude towards the whole situation has changed. He's not telling anecdotes from the show while he's signing autographs. He's just
Yes.
pinging them across the table to people, and
Yes.
and he gets
he-
he meets some super fans who want to ask him a question.
Yeah.
Played mostly
Very-
Justin Long plays the main one, doesn't he?
Yeah. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you've got the wiki in front of you. I figured.
Well, I wasn't looking at that bit.
Oh, okay. But yeah, Justin Long comes on. They want to ask a question about an inconsistency between what happens in the show, and he snaps at them because it's just a fucking TV
This is-
show.
This is just a TV show, and none of this exists. There is no fucking beryllium sphere or anything like this. It doesn't matter. And then he walks off, and everybody else is shocked because he's never done that with a fan.
I do want to just point out that it is basically his opportunity to say you are a toy.
Yeah.
Which is nice for him to flip the narrative around for once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously referencing Toy Story there for anyone who didn't grasp that because he played Buzz Lightyear. So anyway, yes. So he snaps at the fan, blah blah blah. Life. No one. The other cast haven't seen this before. This is a new thing to them. Normally they're used to him eating it up and loving every moment of it. But we get a exchange between Rickman and Weaver when they're both at home. And like I say, Rickman's wearing the headpiece still at this point, which is it's a weird thing for him to be doing as someone who doesn't like the character that much.
Yeah, his flat sort of rundown and cruddy, and she seems to have a nice place, which is, I guess maybe it's because she's more willing to bite the bullet and accept
Yeah, I'd say so.
jobs relating to the TV show, whereas he's more determined to distance himself from it.
I just want to say,
Would be my guess.
we find out that Jason keeps signing him up for more jobs, more
Yeah.
appearances and stuff, which is a bone of contention between them as well. He's going out there and he's making this thing keep happening, whereas sometimes they just want it to sort of just die down a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're discussing the fact that this is new and she's worried about him and he isn't, basically.
Mm.
Yeah.
there's a bit where he meets with the weird people again.
Yeah, so they're at his apartment, aren't they? At one point.
Well, they've got him a limo because he thinks it's for another job.
Yeah.
He gets drunk the night before and watches old Galaxy Quest episodes, and he's hungover and he wakes up and they're there at his house in the Hollywood Hills.
This
So he
fine
gets
ship,
stressed.
this fine crew.
Yeah.
Starts quoting
Yes.
the show back to it. He does love it. He loves the show. It's
No,
everything
he
that-
don't. I
you know.
he I don't know whether he does. I don't think he loves the show. He loves being the star of it.
I think
He loves
I
he
think
loves
he
having
loves. I think he loves it enough to have taken it seriously.
that to an extent. Yeah, I don't think it's
He sees as much as it's not just in my opinion, it's not just a moment of him milking and appreciating the fame that it's given him. I think he understands that there's sort of a level of responsibility to these people as well.
I don't think so. I
Okay.
don't think so. I think that definitely comes at the end.
Mhm.
But I think when he's interacting with the fans and stuff, he's sort of just relishing the attention and being the center of things, and the ego trip of being worshipped as
If
the
it-
captain of this ship.
If it wasn't for the fact that he could still remember the lines from this, whatever this random episode is that happens to be on, then I would completely
Yeah.
agree with you. But I think there's enough of him truly appreciating the show
No,
that
I
is my take on it.
well, I respect that, but I disagree. I
That's fine.
think the reason he that's why he remembers it. That's why he's so
you
engaged
cut
with
out
it.
for me there.
I do think it's his moment in the spotlight. That's why he remembers the lines, because that was his time being the big star.
Well,
But anyway,
we get the implication from what gets discussed between him and Rickman, but that happens a lot during the show.
yes,
So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm
Again-
not convinced. You've not convinced me, but it doesn't matter.
Well, again, it's his ego. Alan Rickman's character has a lot of his best lines taken out, and he's not in. It's all about kind of like William Shatner's reputation. For sort of enjoying the attention of the limelight and being the big star. That's sort of what this is playing with. But yes, the weird people show up, and he thinks it's for a job. So he hurriedly sort of throws some clothes on and asks them to look around for a shoe, and they just sort of stare around the room. And he gets in the limo, driving off, and they're giving him a brief about their situation, that they're Thermians, and they're dealing with an evil alien called Saris who wants to destroy them. And Jason's not really taking this in. He assumes, because he probably gets this a lot, where like fans pay him to be in their fan film or whatever,
Yeah.
or it's an advert and this is the story of the ad. He's not really taking. I'm just going to close my eyes, but I'm still listening. And he does, and then they drive into an alley, and this limousine gets beamed up.
Yes, very much so.
Yes. The next thing you know, he's waking up on a spaceship.
Yes, but he doesn't think it is a spaceship.
No, he thinks it's just a fancy set.
Yeah.
So they take him to the bridge, plonk him down, and he's like, "Okay, do I get a script for this, or do you just want me to wing it, or like what?"
Set it to screensaver 2.
Yes. And they look at him like, "What?" Like, okay, just like Warp 2 or something. I can't remember. So Cyrus comes on screen, this big alien bug-ish sort of lizard thing, and he's doing his thing. He's talking about how he's going to destroy them because it's meant to be a negotiation. And basically, these aliens are aware of him from their historical documents.
Yeah.
This great captain and his crew, and they're desperate for help, so they've tracked him down, and they're asking him for help because the historical documents in question is the fictional TV show.
Yeah, so they've been picking up television signals from Earth.
Yes.
And they believe
Yeah.
they're not familiar with the concept of entertainment
No.
fiction, so they believe it to be historical fact.
Yes, which leads to a very funny joke a little later on, where I think it's Sigourney Weaver's like, well, surely you don't think like Gilligan's Island is real?
Those
Like,
poor
oh,
people.
those poor people. It's funny. Yeah. So Cyrus is going into a spiel, and Jason sort of wants to get out of there. He's like, right, okay, just like fire a bunch of photon torpedoes or whatever at them, and call it a day.
Yes, five
So
are red photons, five are green photons. Give them both
yeah,
barrels, and
yeah. He rattles off some techno babble, which they do, and we don't know the outcome of that as of this moment. But he sort of wanders off and is like, "Well, time to go home." And they thank him because it's like, "Well, you saved us." And they put him in the this room, and he gets covered in goo and fired into space and flies through a black hole, and ends up at his pool, pretty shaken up and traumatized because he's been fired through space.
yeah, that moment of realization for him visually and his reaction for me, I think is pretty damn good. Personally, I like the visuals of him flying through space, and I like the the expressions that he pulls.
You don't get a lot of Tim Allen and stuff these days. I mean, he's in.
To be fair, this was
Toy
26 years ago.
I know he was super big in the 90s, but I do think he's well cast here. He's got the look of the generic leading man in a science fiction show, and he's pretty good. I like him. But he hurriedly goes and finds the others who are doing the opening of like a technology store.
It's some sort of budget situation going on as well, but because there's a
Yes.
line, isn't there? There's a line. Alan Rickman is forced to say his line.
I grabbed Thor's hammer. What a savings!
It's just, and you can understand why he hates it, right?
Yes,
It makes complete sense to him.
He probably gets he gets it shouted at him constantly. He's had to fucking say it repeatedly, and it's just like
if Leonard Nimoy was having to say "live long and save money at this shop," you know, every fucking other weekend because Shatner had signed him up to do it, he would be resentful of this situation. And it's entirely believable. And a lot of the character reactions are believable in this film. A lot of them are, I think.
Yeah.
Especially Sam Rockwell.
Yes. Leonard Nimoy famously wrote an autobiography called "I Am Not Spock," and then released another one called "I Am Spock." So he sort of reappraised that part of his life. So they open the store, and I think they're doing again, and Jason bumps into the crazy fan guy.
Yes, he'd been given a communicator by the.
That's right.
And he bumped into Justin Long's character, and I accidentally swapped his communicators. Yes. Setting up a bit later on.
Yeah. And then he goes and sees the others and tries to explain what's happened to him, and they brush him off as crazy and just taking the piss.
As you would.
And he says, "Look, I'm many things, but you know I'm not crazy." They like, "Oh, Jason, what's happened to you?" And they get in the bus to go home, and they're like, "Yeah, he was probably talking about a job." And there's a pause, and then they get out of the car because it's work.
Yeah, like they need the money.
Yes, and they meet up with the alien people, and they get beamed up to the ship too.
Yes, in 2 batches. It's worth noting.
Yeah.
Tony Shalhoub is buying some stuff from a vending machine when everyone else disappears, and he
joins
them
shortly. He's got the munchies.
Well, most likely, yeah. And it's worth mentioning that because when they arrive, shook up by the fact that they have flown through space in the same manner as we saw Tim Allen do Back to Earth.
Yeah.
They are greeted after a bit of wailing outside the room by sort of squid-like creatures.
Yes.
With all sorts of weird devices and sort of probing them almost. Not in an actual probing way, but in a sort of like examinationary way. At one point, there's something that looks a bit like a gun gets put in someone's ear.
They're sort of scanning him about and stuff.
Yeah. And then it's revealed that actually these are the aliens that we'd seen before, but they'd forgotten to turn on their whatever it is that makes them look humanoid. Yeah, so they're freaking out. Sam Rockwell just fucking screams.
Yes, this is crazy.
You know, it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense that this is to them because this is a bad trip, really, as far as anyone would be concerned, right? But they've not done it all. Man, Tony Shalhoub turns up after it's all fine, and he's just, yeah, that was neat.
Mm.
I just fucking love it. I love it.
Yeah. So
Um,
they get a bit of a tour.
hmm.
Actually, you know what? I've talked a lot. You pick it up. This is your film.
Yeah, they get shown around a little bit. It turns out we're in a spaceport, and there's this wonderful. I say wonderful. Again, it's a visual thing. There's this bit where
Yeah.
they're put in an elevator, and they get to see the ship, and it's just they're going past them, and there's the typical space dock view that you would get in a sci-fi.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
it's the done thing where you get the panoramic sort of. This
There's a
is what
lot.
the ship looks like.
Yeah, there's a lot of these in the Star Trek movies where you see the Enterprise in space dock and the crew are about to get on. There's a lot of that.
Yeah, and they're told to get into they end up seeing the ship properly and shown around it, and then they get into they go to the bridge
Yes.
and they're told to get to do their jobs on the bridge, and they're like, hang on a minute. So like you get everyone going to what would have been their stations because it's been faithfully recreated. These aliens have
Yes.
properly examined these videos and they've made it completely the same. Even the technobabble turns out to actually be applicable. Like there's this
Well,
thing, like the beryllium sphere, which is
Yeah.
it's like basically the warp core, right? Effectively, it's
Yeah.
that equivalent, and it's a thing that actually exists and actually does the job.
Which is really weird.
It really is, isn't it? When you think about it.
I mean, I can stretch it a little bit of the way because they've taken the stuff they see on the show and because they think it's real, they've made it work.
Yeah, that's how I see it. Is
Because the show doesn't go into a great deal of detail with like the deep down tech stuff, so they've taken it. It's sort of cosmetic and they've applied some of the show stuff.
so we've
But yeah, you're
wired
right.
we've wired up the engines. They're all working fine, but apparently we need a beryllium sphere, and it won't work without it. So we're going to put one in, and we're going to make it not work unless there's one in. Okay?
Yeah, it's really weird.
It is. But,
Actually, now that you mention it, the beryllium sphere is a thing.
yeah, and looks the same.
Yeah, and it's not even. It's like a different culture,
Yeah,
a different species, a different alien planet
yeah.
has them. That's just a thing that
Just
they
a-
mine, I guess.
It's just a thing. But
Yeah,
I mean, I can overlook it because it's meant to be stupid, right? It's another one of those things where it's meant to be stupid.
yeah, I can. Yeah, I can. It stands out a bit when you think about it, but I can sort of hand wave it.
The whole
Away, it doesn't
this
really
this
look
is
right.
meant to be an absurd situation.
Mm.
For the human actors. It's an absurd situation for them to be in, and so I completely ignore the fact. I acknowledge that it's there, but I can overlook it because it's supposed to be ridiculous.
Well, I think it's an issue, but
Okay.
it's not a major one for me.
No. But yeah, so they're like, the pilot guy, Tommy Laredo.
Yeah.
He's like, I wouldn't want to be the commander right now, as they have to leave, and it's like, and he gets told to take the ship out because he's the fucking
Yeah.
pilot.
Yes, he's a helmsman.
He's the guy who's actually got to do the job right now.
Yes.
If it had been anyone else, it wouldn't work as a funny thing. But yeah, it's just brilliant. And he does. He starts flying the ship, and all is going well until they realise they're veering a little bit to the left.
Yeah.
And everyone's sort of like leaning a bit as if it's going to make any fucking difference. And then they scrape the
Yeah.
side.
Yes. It makes it out where they've got a nasty scratch down the side.
Yeah.
I do want to mention as they fly away,
Hmm.
you see that the spaceport is actually like hanging off the end of what appears to be their home world.
Yeah, it's a very badly destroyed looking planet, isn't it?
Yeah, like it's been completely wrecked, and there's like chunks of it floating around, and one big main chunk which the spaceport is attached to.
And you also
So,
see that physically that shouldn't have happened with the scraping because of where the engine's located.
Yeah, it's the
The engine would have been hooked on and still sort of. But again, you got to overlook these sorts of things sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's this whole. They get to spend a bit of time on the ship and they find out what they're meant to be doing, and they don't want to be there, and then they do want to be
Yeah.
there, and then they're eating food that is based on their home worlds.
yes.
And
Yes, and
everyone's got normal sort of food apart from Alan Rickman, who's got fucking whatever it is, blood ticks that are
Yes.
live
Yeah, it's
insects
sort of-
in it.
Ask him how he's enjoying it, and he says just like muddy make. But it's revealed that Cyrus has survived,
Yes.
and they're going to have another negotiation because he wants the Omega 13
Yes.
because he
Whatever
said
this
about it.
thing
He hasn't. He hasn't seen the historical documents, but he's heard about this incredibly powerful weapon, and he's curious and he wants it.
Yes, he heard because he'd managed to capture and torture the alien's former leader.
Yes.
And they get shown
Yes.
footage of this.
And the crew are like, "Fuck this, we're going.
We're getting the
But
fuck
they
out of
can't.
here." And they can't.
They
Because Saris
can't.
has turned up, and if they try and leave
Yes.
in the pod things, the gel things,
Gonna shoot.
they're going to get shot down. So they have to stay now. They have to stay and hopefully not get blown up, or they have to go and
Yes.
actually definitely die. So they stay.
So we have another negotiation scene, and Jason...
Oh, hang on, sorry, one brief thing. We do get a line here that I've written down, and it's from Sam Rockwell, and he says, "I'm the guy that dies to show you the situation is serious,"
Yes.
and that is
The whole Fred
is his
thing,
whole
yeah.
fucking relationship with this for the entire
He-
fucking film is.
Yes.
He's been milking this for all it's worth, but in this situation, he fully expects to die because that's what his
Yes.
job was on this.
Yes, it's an interesting point you make because he plays himself up as though, all right, he's a minor character, but he was still a character on the show. And when push comes to shove and he's in the real situation, he's like, I was not important. I was there just to die. I was a nobody.
There's this
and
bit
that means
I
to
didn't
die.
even have a last name.
Yes.
It was crewman number 6. You know.
Yes. My favourite joke of the entire film is in relation to that, but we'll get to it.
Yeah.
So they've got another negotiation scene, and Jason tries playing for time and draws his hand across his throat to Gwen, and she's like, "Yeah, I know, right?" And he starts coming up with a plan that basically they're going to fire everything at him again.
Mm-hmm.
And Gwen tries to warn him, and it's only after he's revealed the plan that Jason realizes that the screen's still on.
Yes, they're still
So why-
communicating.
Why didn't I gave you the signal to cut it? And she says, "No, that's the signal to say we're dead. Do you honestly think I know where the hold button is on this thing?" Fair enough. So there's a fight, and they're fleeing, and they come across a minefield,
Yes.
and they race through the minefield and end up getting hit by a shit ton of mines.
Do you have to hit every last one of them?
Because they're all magnetized.
Yep.
It's set up that these mines are magnetized, so they're you get close enough and they race to you.
Yeah.
Saris sort of leaves it because he's like, well, the mines will take care of them.
Yeah. Doesn't need to chase after them. They are going to blow themselves up.
And they come out the other end, and they've been seriously fucked up. And the next scene is a meeting.
Oh, no, hang on.
Oh.
One of them's been badly injured. The pilot,
Oh,
Tommy.
yeah.
Tommy's been badly hurt, and Rickman's character starts walking off, and they ask where he's going. Do you remember what he
See if
says?
there's a pub.
To see if there's a pub.
There's a pub.
He really plays into the British in this, doesn't he?
Yes. Fair
Um,
enough.
yes, but no, yeah. So they're having the damage report meeting basically,
Yeah.
and we finally see Sigourney Weaver leaning into her role on the ship.
Yes.
I consider her job role to be a computer liaison. That's how I would
Yeah,
describe it.
She's the communications officer.
She
But
basically,
her role on the show, to give us something to do, the writers just made her the one. A lot of her lines were just repeating what the computer said,
yes,
which
and-
she's now doing in real life. And this is pointed out, and she's like, "Look, I've got one fucking job on this. It's stupid, but I'm gonna do it."
Yep.
And they're like, "Okay."
because her I mean, to put it bluntly, her job on the proper TV show was to look good, right?
Yeah.
That's what she's there for. She's there to look good, and they gave her this
Yes.
shitty job because she had to have an actual job.
She needs to have lines.
Yeah. But yeah, they decide that they need to go get this beryllium sphere.
Yes, 'cause they need a replacement.
Uh,
Sorry, go on.
So they go on an away mission.
Yeah, yeah. We got our both sides of the Star Trek episode. We get the stuff on the ship and an away mission.
Yeah. There's a brief moment where Alan Rickman gets given a tricorder style device by someone who's a big fan.
Yes.
To put it nicely, he's considered. It's a nice touching moment, and he appreciates it. But obviously, he doesn't really want to be there either, right?
Yes.
Um,
And he cuts them off before he does his catchphrase.
yeah, don't do that.
Don't. Yeah.
So yeah, we go down to the planet, and they're all there, all the main guys, and Fred's just eating again. Tony Shalhoub is just eating snacks or whatever while he's flying down, and they're managing to. It's just, they're having this whole conversation again. It's Sam Rockwell's like, I should have I should have stayed on the ship. I was worried about being the guy that stays behind on the ship and gets killed by something on the ship, but now I'm worried about being the guy who dies out here on the planet with you.
Yeah. Yes.
It's just, I love it, and the trouble is he's sensible. He's sensible here because when they finally land, they just open the door.
Yeah.
They don't think about the fact that they might just get sucked out into this planet and die. He's the one person who's like, you don't know if there's air.
It's because they're all working on the logic of the show when it's always fine.
Yeah, but this is fucking outer space.
Like, yeah, fair enough. But it seems fine. Out they go.
Yeah, so they go looking and they're following this device, and they change directions a few seconds later because they realise they're going the wrong way.
He's falling upside down.
And they find a mining facility. It looks a bit like they're in a desert somewhere with a few rocks, and there's a mining facility. If you've ever seen a sci-fi episode, it's like how Doctor Who, everything's quarries, isn't it? Everything's a Welsh quarry.
Yes, whereas with Star Trek, it's a desert a few miles outside of LA.
Because there's so much of it there, you know.
Yeah.
But they find these, and there's these little creatures who must be the miners.
Yes. There's a joke about how they look like kids as well. No, not miners, miners.
And they look good. They're dealing with. They're communicating with each other. They're having like drinking water, and there's an injured one.
Yeah.
And Sam Rockwell's like, they're cute now, but in a minute they're gonna get ugly and mean, and there's gonna be a million more of them.
Yes, and he's not wrong.
He's bang on right. They murder the one that's injured.
Yeah.
They just fucking turn on it, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
Yes. And it leads. Yes, they run away, and it leads to my favourite joke in the entire film.
Yep.
Where Gwen says, "Let's get out of here before." Kills Guy.
I wrote that line down. Yes, let's get out of here, but one of them kills Guy. It is a brilliant line. I completely agree.
Yes, best joke in the entire film.
Because she understands where he's coming from.
Yeah,
and if anyone's gonna die there, it probably is actually gonna be him, right?
Yeah.
But no, they managed to get a sphere and weird it back to the ship, or roll it back to the ship, I should say. But oh no, Jason gets left behind.
Yeah, all the little creatures see him and start running after them, and they just get it in the ship. And Jason's trying to get in, and they fly off. And as you rightly say, he gets left behind, and they hit him with the rock.
Yes, and there's a little bit of captions between them talking, and they say he looks like a child.
Yes,
which is an interesting style of. You gotta wonder what they're.
Aliens.
Yeah. Also, they've got little naked butts. I just want to.
Yeah. So they hit him with a rock. Next thing he knows, he's waking up in this sort of collar thing, and the rest of the crew are on the ship and watching him from orbit. And he's fighting this pig monster, which he assumes is called Grog. What is it called? Grignac or something?
Yeah, something like that. Grignag.
Yeah.
Because they're chanting Grignag.
We can beam him up. The only problem is it hasn't been tested on beings with our anatomy.
Yes, it's designed it's designed for human anatomy, the crew's anatomy. It's not designed for the aliens that made it, the Thermians. So
theoretically it works, but practically we have no idea. So let's test it on this pig. Tony Shalhoub, as Tech Sergeant Chen, was basically the Scotty or the O'Brien. His job is to work the transporter. So he beams up this pig monster.
Yep.
And it arrives and it's turned inside out and then it explodes.
Yes, there's this bit where because again the Vermians have no concept of deception for anything other than evil.
Yes.
They get asked what happened to it, and he's like, it turned inside out and it exploded. And it tickles me. It tickles me every time.
Yes.
But they're still chanting. The aliens are still chanting.
Yeah, and that's weird. And then some rocks start moving, behind Jason and turn into a giant rock monster.
Oh
And
my god.
this whole thing is very Kirk versus the
For Gorn?
thingy, the Gorn. Yeah, the
Mm.
Gorn. And
Oh,
the giant rock.
it's revealed that Grignag actually means rock as well. They do turn a translator on and they're like, oh, actually, they're chanting
Yeah.
rock.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. So Jason has to fight this rock monster, and he's getting tossed about. And at some point, his shirt comes.
yes.
Because of course it does. Apparently, George Takei, in his reaction to the film, said, "Yeah, that happened all the time." On the original series, we were always saying, "Oh, of course, Shatner's shirt's come off."
See, you managed to get your shirt off is the line that we hear.
Yes. And it's up to Fred to beam up Jason, and it's pointed out that Fred was he always knew his lines. He had cue. He was the professional one who had everything down.
Mhm.
And if there's anyone who can do this, it's him. Wouldn't you know it? He manages it.
He does because he's inspired somewhat. He's motivated by. Is it Missy Pyle?
Missy Pyle, yeah.
Yeah, he's motivated by her character walking into the room because it's obvious that he's developed some level of attraction for her.
Yeah.
Um,
He wants to impress the alien girl.
yes. So he like she walks into the room and he zips up his uniform and he turns around and he just fucking does it in the nick of time because a second later and Tim Allen would have been crushed by the rock monster.
Yeah. And he comes on and everybody's pleased to see him. And yeah, as you said, I'm going to say, I see you managed to get your shirt off.
But they're all really happy. They're all genuinely happy about the situation.
Yeah.
They've managed to do the job, get back to the planet. Everyone's still alive, even Guy. And everything's fine. The worst thing that happened really is they had to look at Tim Allen's tits.
Yeah, everything's fine except it isn't,
No.
because Cyrus has taken control of the ship,
Mm-hmm.
and he's torturing the leader of the Thermians,
Balthazar.
Balthazar,
Yeah.
and he's demanding to know where the Omega-13 is. And Jason says he has no idea, and then they threaten Gwen. And then they I can't remember exactly how it happens, but it brings up the historical documents.
Yes.
And Sarah starts watching it and immediately gets, okay,
He
these
knows.
are not real. These are actors.
He understands immediately like that.
Yes, and finds it hilarious and insists that Jason be the one to explain it to Matt. Who takes a little while to get it, and so he's like, explain it to him as you would a child. And he does get it, and the acting in that moment is great because he looks alien and hard.
I described it in my notes as genuinely heartbreaking.
Yes, it's this person's world has just collapsed in on them.
It's like telling a young child that there's no Santa.
Yeah,
It's just.
hopefully your son didn't hear that.
I didn't say it was true.
Yeah.
Anywho. Yes, so they get taken off to get executed.
Mm-hmm.
And they start arguing, don't they? Tim Allen and Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
Tim Allen Rickman.
Yes.
And they reference stuff that happens in the show. It's like, this is just like that time in episode 18 where you scene stealing hack and all that kind of stuff. And it's obvious, it's revealed to be a ploy.
Yes.
A cunning ploy to throw off the two guards that are holding them and taking them to be executed. And they end up overpowering them by, using this fight. It's as you would in a TV show. It's what you do in a TV show, isn't it? Like,
yes.
They
get the upper hand on their captors.
Yes. And
Tim Allen mercilessly murders them by flushing them out of space.
Yes. No.
Or is that Tony Shalhoub?
Tony Shalhoub does it because he's like, oh, sorry, the door sticks. I don't know if you saw, the door sticks a little bit. I'll get one of the guys down there to.
Yeah, he has a team hug with them earlier, which is really nice.
Yeah, he gets on well with them. He takes this whole thing very well. It's in his stride, his element. Yeah. But again, he might be stoned, so
Yeah.
he gets asked later if he is. But
yeah.
yes. So anyway, yeah, they decide they need to fix this. They see that the core is going to explode. And there's a timer on here, and that timer gets ignored almost right up until the very end. Like, it's not consistent. I just want to. I've made a point of commenting on it for Van Helsing.
That's the second film in a row where you've had issues with an arbitrary time limit.
Yeah. Don't put it in if you're not going to stick to it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, Saris has set things up. He's done with the ship. He has no need for it anymore because he figures the Omega-13 isn't a working thing. He set the core to detonate. He's going to blow them up, and he's put all the thermines in a room where the oxygen is slowly being sucked out.
Yeah.
They're going to suffocate to death.
So they all split up so they can tackle these things bit by bit. So you've got Tim Allen and Sigourney Weaver going to try and stop the core implosion. You get you got Fred and Guy and the alien woman going to try and turn the air back on. Liana, or something like that.
Yeah, that's what Peter said.
And you've got Alan Rickman going to try and open a door or something so that they can, breathe.
Yes, and
they all go about their different tasks.
You've also got Tommy, whose job is to learn how to fly.
Yes, absolutely.
So he busy himself with watching old episodes. Pedal to the metal, Captain.
In like a little museum thing, isn't he?
Yes.
There's plimps with like what look like replica weapons or whatever, as if the actual phaser that was used by. Obviously can't be, but it's just funny. It's just funny to me. There's a fucking museum there. They go about their stuff, and they're like, Sigourney Weaver's Gwen is like, I don't know how to deactivate a core, and I'm assuming you don't. And he uses the communicator to get in touch with the superfan.
Yes, because of course he's going to know everything. And his mum was nagging him about the trash.
Yeah, take the trash out, and it's like there's 10 minutes, and you get this brief bit where he's trying to look around his room, trying to find where his communicator noise is coming from, and he has a brief moment with like a quick chat with Tim Allen over his communicator, and he's like, "Look, I just want to." I was thinking a lot about what you said the other day about this just being a TV show, and I want you to know I understand that it's fiction, and I'm not one of those people who believes that this is entirely true. And Tim Allen's like, no, it's entirely true. You were right, and it's like, I knew it.
I knew it. I
fucking knew it. And it's a silly little moment, but you can sort of see it coming, but it's nice. I like it.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, well, I can guide you to this, but I need to get some of the guys on because they know that part of the ship better than I do, and
it's a proper yes.
Yeah. So they get guided through that. While that's happening, you get Alan Rickman meets the guy who gave him the tricorder thing.
Quelek.
Yeah, I think that's his name. And it's like, what are you doing up there? And it's like, well, I deployed your something stealth phase to evade capture.
Hi.
And it's like it's one of these. It's another example where the ridiculousness of the fucking show being actually quite realistic and accurate comes to light, because it's like, and they managed to together they managed to get a door wedged open a little bit, and they do some chant together, don't they? And Rickman's still hating the fact that they're doing this, but like, it's fine. I'll do it. It's gonna work. We'll push through.
Yeah.
And the other guys, the ones trying to turn the air on. I'll let you talk about them.
Well, they come across a bit of a problem because the main air control thing is full of enemy aliens.
Yes.
And they're like, how the hell do we get past here? And Sam Rockwell, red shirt rant again.
Yeah.
And Fred tries to cheer him up by saying, who knows, maybe you're the plucky comic relief. Which doesn't really work, but it does give him an idea.
It does. It's like, he just starts laughing. It's like, oh, I just had an idea. Headshot, are you
Fred
stoned? Line, and then
yeah. Oh yeah, that's what tips him off, I guess. So it goes back to the transporter panel, and he beams up the rock monster.
Yes.
Into the room with all the aliens who are like playing cards and smoking and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it beats the shit out of them, and it chases them around the ship. And eventually it blows a hole through the door, and they all get flushed out in space.
And it looks so happy. I don't know how, because it hasn't really got a proper face, but it looks so content.
It's the music. It does look content.
Yeah.
But yeah, they get into the room and they turn off. They pump the room full of oxygen and open the door, I guess.
They fix the problem, is the gist.
Yes, they fix the problem.
Yeah.
So Alexander and Quelek, go into the room and sort of start checking everybody's all right. And they're like, yeah, we did it. And then Quelek gets shot.
Oh no, hang on, because they're like, yeah, we did it. Pray, he saved us. Commander Taggart saved us. While
Yes.
Alexander is stood there in the middle of a room,
He's like,
thinking he's
fucking
finally getting some
typical.
credit. But yes,
Yes.
Quellic goes out of the room as a little commander, gets shot by an alien. One of the bad
Yes.
guys.
Yes, who very conveniently has some trouble with his gun, which takes a little while for him to sort of. He's just in the corridor trying to figure out what the fuck he's got on with his gun because it's jammed.
Alan
But
Rickman
Alexander
drags him
has
to safety, so he doesn't
Yes.
get shot again.
Yes,
And they have this moment,
Yeah.
don't they? This.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a tough moment, isn't it? It's quite an emotional
Well,
moment.
it's a lovely moment.
It is. They'd say, it's fine. We'll get you down to the medical. You'll be all right. And Quedic's like, I know this is impertinent of me, but I always thought of you as like a father to me. And then we get a genuine, sincere use of the catchphrase. He by Grabthar's hammer, by the sons of whatever.
By Grabthar's hammer, by the sons of Warvan, you shall be avenged.
And it's
Probably the only time in his entire career. Sincerely.
yeah, and it's such a touching moment. And he walks out, he goes out of the room, and he fucking runs at the alien that shot him.
Yes.
There is no mercy. Yeah.
Yes.
It's
It's lovely. But meanwhile, Gwen and Jason are still trying to figure out this, and they find the Omega-13. It's beautiful.
yeah.
It's like a big DNA thing whirling around and shit.
They're walking across like a chasm with a fan underneath it, and Justin
Yeah.
Long is like, what I would give to be able to see what you can see right now, and Gwen's like, it's just a fan, like they had in every episode of the show, and it's like, no. Tim Allen looks up, and it's like, holy fuck, like you say, it is genuinely pretty.
Yes. Yeah. It's mentioned earlier. Nobody knows what it does. It's set up in the last episode of the Galaxy Quest TV show. This is something we're going to activate to get out of this problem, but nobody knows what it is. And the Thermians have rebuilt it, and they say that we're not entirely sure what it does, but we think if we push a good chance.
I lost you there. If we push a button, there's a good chance
It'll destroy the universe.
Yeah,
it'll destroy. Yeah.
The two main schools of thought, as what we get told, are that it'll either destroy the universe, or maybe it's a matter rearranger.
Well, that's what the fan says.
Well, yeah, well, they talk about it. They're what we get told. They're the two options we get given as to what it actually does.
So they continue with the help of the superfans. They make their way down to the core.
Yes.
And there's a massive sort of obstacle course of big hammers and jumpers or chompers and pushy stuff.
Yep.
And Gwen has a fucking mental breakdown. It's like, why the fuck is this here? This makes no sense. What is the purpose of this? I refuse to cooperate.
It's the
this.
one.
This is insane.
I'm assuming you're familiar with this little factoid about the line that she says. She says, "Screw that," but she doesn't.
Her lips clearly say, "Well, fuck that."
Yes, because she's had enough, and this is a bullshit. I want to kill whoever wrote this episode, or this episode was badly written, or something like that.
Yes.
And they've got to go through this, and there's some sort of pattern that we're meant to be following for this.
Yeah.
And they're getting shot at by aliens, and I just want to point out in this there's a hallway behind them, and there's a ladder at the end of this hallway that the aliens have come down, and I can't help but wonder why they didn't just come down that ladder themselves.
Oh, I don't know.
But again, it's
they get to the button, and they're told all you need to do is just press this button.
Press the button. Press the button. I thought it would be more complicated.
Yeah, and nothing happens. So they press it again and again and again, and they're like, "For fuck's sake, superfan! What's? It's not working. It's not working. Come in, help!" Cut to the superfan, who has finally been forced by his mother to put the trash out.
Yeah, but put it in recycling.
Recycling. It's like, oh, I can't. The importance of this, what I'm doing right now and stuff, and the time is ticking down, and Gwen and Jason have a nice little moment where He's almost about to sort of reveal his feelings for her, and it hits 1 second and stops.
Because it always stopped at one on the show.
Like, well, yeah, of course it always stopped at one on the show, so it's. Meanwhile, Saris is getting pissed off.
Oh, that does beg the question: what would have happened if they hadn't pressed the button? Would it have still stopped at 1?
No, I think it would have blown up.
I think it would have blown up, but it does beg the question because it never actually blowed up in the show. Is it actually wired to blow up?
Well, the science is still there, isn't it?
Well, I
don't know. We're getting into stuff here that I don't think there is. I don't know.
There's no good answer. I'm just curious. It came to me just now as a possibility that maybe it would never have blown up, and they think it's going to, but why would it?
I think we should peek behind the curtain. Behind the curtain, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, Saris is sort of a bit confused and a bit annoyed because he's been told it's not blown up and that they've escaped, and one of his men hits the window, who got flushed out by Fred, and he orders a load of his men to go back on the ship, and there's sort of a fight where the Thermines are fighting them and meet up, and Alexander beating the shit out of these reptilian alien things. And I can't quite remember what happens next.
Okay, so they end up going back to the bridge. They go back to the bridge and they engage in a ship combat with Saris. Basically, they're like, "Look, we're gonna have to deal with this. We're gonna have to deal with him on the ship." And they get him to chase them into the minefield again. Only this time, because Tommy's been learning to fly, he's dodging the mines quite accurately. He's doing a fucking good job of it. He's learned well. And they ask him to get closer to the mines, and it's like, what, closer to them? And it's like, yeah, well, I'll give it a go. So they're doing that. Saris is following after him, and he tells the scanners aren't working properly because they're in this magnetic cloud of mines. And they finally get them back on the scanners, and it's like, well, get behind them. It's like, well, I can't. It's like, why not? It's because they're coming right for us. And we have this moment, don't we, where they're talking to each other, and it's like, look, you don't understand that I'm going to be able to blow your ship out of the sky. And it's like, yeah, but you don't understand that I know it doesn't take a good actor to recognise a bad one, and you're sweating. It's like, it's.
I'm a general. I'm not going to blink here.
Yeah.
It's this good back and forth that you do sometimes get in Star Trek episodes. There's a lot of you can. This is clearly inspired by Star Trek.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, through and through, even down to the resolution to this, where Jason reveals that you don't realise that my ship is dragging Mars.
Yes.
And he throws them into Saris, which is such a TNG move. Yeah, that's right out of the Next Generation. So Saris' ship gets destroyed, but we do see him sort of running, and I think he pushes a button.
Yeah. He runs to some sort of console, whether he's trying to put armor up or whatever isn't clear at that point.
Yeah.
But they're all happy because they've managed to defeat him. They're defeating Saris. His ship is blown up, and they're like, well, I guess we've got to lay in a course for home. It's like, well, we'll have to go through a black hole, but I suppose that's not really an issue, is it, considering everything we've already fucking done. So they go through this. They plot a course. It's literally just a point and click. I just need to press a button, and we're course laid in, Captain. So they go through, and they get out the other end. It's like, oh, we made it. We're going home.
Yeah.
And then Fred turns up. Fred comes on the bridge.
Fred. But he looks a little different.
Ever so slightly,
and, Jason goes up to him and is like, "Oh, how are you, Fred, or whatever?" And he's got a gun. And Fred shoots Jason.
Oh my god, what?
And then he shoots Gwen.
Oh my god, what?
And then he shoots Alexander.
And they're still flying towards Earth at this point, just to be clear.
Yeah. And it looks like they're going to crash into Earth. In fact, I think the only one of the main cast he doesn't shoot, ironically, is Guy. the red shirt is the only one who just gets shot.
They have some very dramatic dives during this, don't they? He reveals himself to be Saris during this. It turns out it's Saris himself.
Yes.
And there's a very dramatic sort of getting shot, diving, all that kind of crap. And Tim Allen's Jason's like, Malthazar, activate the Omega 13. And Malthazar just sits bolt upright, obviously having just been shot, but he just sits up, and the visual of that tickles me.
Yes.
In the middle of his getting shot at sort of situation, just sits up. The Omega 13 activates, and oh my god, it takes them back in time to just after they got out of the black hole.
Yes.
And Fred walks in.
And Jason digs him.
Yeah, and everyone's like, well, what the hell?
What the fuck are you doing?
What are you doing? Leave him alone.
It's Saris.
And then he turns, he gets up, starts going to shoot him again, and Malthazar hits him with his crutch.
Yay. Problem solved.
And there's a few little bits. Like, there's what a cunning deception, the ship the size of he holds out like an inch or two on his finger.
Yes.
It's
it's revealed Balthazar has either convinced himself or is playing along for the sake of the others, or genuinely believes that Jason was lying when he said it was all a TV show, and he was lying to deceive Saris. Which I'm sort of fine with. We never really find what the motivation there is. You can believe whether you really, I guess.
I think my personal stance is that he's come to realise that deception isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
Just because his only experience of it prior to discovering that the show was fiction is negative doesn't mean that it's all negative. Not everyone who lies is a bad person.
Probably the moral sort of rewarding interpretation of that, rather than no, he still just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to.
They need to separate the ship.
Separate the saucer.
Yeah.
Like from Star Trek. And Malthazar is sad to see them go because they're not going to have a commander.
You hope that they would stay with him, and
yes, they already have a great commander, and it's you.
Never
Fred. Yes, never surrender. And Fred is summoned to the saucer section with his with Missy Pyle, who's coming with him.
Yes. Explain that one to social security people.
Yeah, well, look, we're setting ourselves up for disaster. Question the realism of this.
No, I know. You got to throw.
Given what happens next, because.
Well, yeah.
So they need to land this ship on Earth.
Quite a big ship still.
Yeah, and they sort of don't really. I mean, it's sort of a landing / crash.
Yeah,
they wipe out.
They get guided in, don't they, by the communicator, and Justin Long and his mates have got fireworks to try and help give a visual aid for it. And
yeah, and his mum's fine because at least he's outside.
Yeah, and it's his car park at the convention centre.
Yes.
Where the Galaxy Quest crew haven't turned up.
Yeah, they're running late.
Yeah.
And people are getting a bit antsy.
And they crash the ship, and it's like you say, it's more of a crash than a landing. And they're fucking over people's cars, and they don't seem to be slowing down very much.
No, they don't. They crash into the convention centre itself.
They do.
Killing God knows how many people.
Yes, but putting on one hell of a show.
Yes. And they sort of judder to a halt right at the stage, and then one by one they all stumble off stage by the MC. And Jason does a decent thing and sort of summons his glory. He's the last one. But there's there's two extra guests. Nobody knows who Missy Pyle's character is. They just like Fred and Guest. And nobody also knows who Guy is either. Another
crew member.
The fans know. The fans have to know because God knows if this was Star Trek, they'd know. He'd just be the annoying guy who always shows up.
I think at this point, we get the line: "Give him a big hand. He's British."
Yes.
For Alan Rickman's appearance, yes. I think it's here. I've written it down. It's definitely in this section. It's whether it's there or a little later. And again, that's a line that sticks with me. It's just. But yeah, Saris turns up.
Yeah, he stumbles out, and he's a bit confused too. He has no idea where and what's going on, but he's got a gun.
Mm.
Mercifully, so does Jason, who does a roll pick, shoots Saris just in.
You're cutting in and out a bit. Sorry.
He shoots Saris.
He does.
He gets
He has a gun on Tommy's back, isn't there? And he grabs it and he rolls and
Yeah.
he shoots. Because there's a bit earlier where they're talking about do the rolls help while they're on the alien
Yes.
planet, and it's like yeah, they help. Obviously they help, and he does it. And
Yeah.
it does actually, it looks kind of cool to be fair.
Yes.
So it just explodes.
Yes, and the fans see this and assume it's just one hell of an intro.
Oh yes. And there's a bit of a smooch.
Yeah, and everybody goes wild, and it's revealed afterwards that the show has been revived.
It has.
Galaxy Quest: The Journey Continues.
Well, I've got to pay for that
Everybody,
convention centre damage somehow, haven't they?
well, yeah, everybody. I mean, everybody's back on the show with their roles, and Guy's now the security chief.
Yes, Guy Rock Fleetman
Ingersoll.
or whatever. Oh.
Yes, his name is Guy Fleegman, and the character he's playing is security chief Rock Ingersoll. And Missy Pyle is on there as Jane Doe.
Yes.
And yeah, it's like they all sort of now have a newfound appreciation for the fans, because that's really what the Thermians, in a sense, they represent hardcore fandom.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the cast sort of learn what they mean to people and the impact they have on of their fans and what the show means to them.
Mm-hmm.
And they sort of embrace it as something more than they did previously. I mean, Alexander learns what his catchphrase and what his character to Quelek.
Mm-hmm.
So he finally learns to embrace that character, and Jason sort of, I guess, loses his ego a good bit.
Yeah.
And learns to share the appreciation with his fellow castmates, and yeah, it's almost like they all, buoyed by this massive PR thing of them crash landing,
Mm-hmm.
and the fan community, and I guess even just themselves just sort of deciding they want to do that. The show comes back, which is great.
It's good.
So yeah, that's Galaxy Quest.
There was a line I remembered while you were talking. I've forgotten it now.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
a bit of a shame. No, it's not. I hadn't written it down in my thing, but it's something that Guy says again, because he has so many wonderful lines, but I can't remember it, so it doesn't matter. Oh no, that's it. Yeah, when they're talking about it's way back. It's way back. But when they're on the planet and they're talking about what plan they're gonna do, and we'll do it like we did in episode 81. And Guy's like, well, hang on a minute, episode 81, or is it definitely episode 81? And we're like, well, yeah, but I don't know, maybe. It's like, why does it matter? It's because I died in episode 81. Which again,
Yeah,
it's just
he mentions he's killed by a lava monster, which I wonder is a reference to Sasha Yar, who's killed by a tar monster.
okay, could be.
I wonder if that's deliberate. I don't know.
But no, it's something that I meant to mention earlier that I completely forgot about. But yeah, this is obviously he knows the show as well. Obviously on Nova Bit he was in quite well compared to other bits, but
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I do really like this movie.
Mm.
I sort of wish that the fan representation wasn't just the hardcore people who are really obsessed with like the technological aspect of it, but they do have they do sort of touch on the main themes of the TV series, don't they?
Oh yeah.
Never give in, never surrender. Yeah, I think this is a good movie and I like it.
Yeah, same here. It's up there as one of my top 10. I don't know where in that top 10 ranking, and it's probably slipped in and out of that top 10 many a time over the years, because that's what movies do, right? I think it manages to lean well into the absurdity of sci-fi fiction, sci-fi TV. Sorry, it's a parody. It's a good parody that manages to hold up to as an example of it holds up as an example of sci-fi as well as being a parody of sci-fi. And it's funny. It's genuinely funny, and
yes,
it does funny whilst also managing to tug on the heartstrings. And that's comedy that can make you. Oh, it didn't make you cry, but comedy that can make you cry as well makes a comedy more impactful, and it makes the crying more impactful, right? Because it can catch you off. That bit with Quellic, just, oh my god, right? After such a moment of triumph and with all the laughs that we've had along the way, to have that and that's genuinely touching scene, you know. So yeah, I love it. I think it's a fantastic film.
Yeah, I mean the parody hits well. It understands what it's parodying. Loves with that sort of talks about the industry and the behind the scenes stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's good. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
So that's it for Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
We'll be doing another film next week. I don't know what film it's going to be, Ben. It's one of yours, isn't it?
No, you don't. It's one of mine, and I guess we reveal at the end, don't we?
Well, that's what we have been doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
mine's also mine's a comedy-ish.
Oh, okay. Film. What film is it?
It's the 1994 film by Tim Burton, Ed Wood.
Ed Wood. Okay, I've never seen this
based
one before.
Based on the so-called worst director ever, which it wasn't, Edward D. Wood Jr.
How long is this film?
It's 100.
You cut out for me. Is how long?
127 minutes.
Jesus Christ. Okay. I've got to find 2 hours of my life. Because it won't be 2 hours of my life. It'll be closer to 2.5 because I have to pause it every so often to make my notes.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I hope you like it.
I'll work out what night to write off.
About a film I really... Well, I just do on Saturday morning.
Yeah, well, I'm busy Saturday morning, aren't I? Because I've got my partner over, so...
Oh, yeah, that.
Yeah, I have a social life, you see.
Yeah, it's overrated.
Well,
so we'll see you next Saturday where we talk about what is arguably Tim Burton's best movie.
Well, we'll see. We will probably argue.
Bye.
Bye.